Marketing Lightning Round. Marketers square off on top strategies. Our speakers are Mark Homer, Jordan Ostroff, and Seth Price. Mark Homer, you already met. Jordan Ostroff, you already met. Seth Price is the newbie on the block for this talk. He's also a law firm owner in the DC area. Price Benowitz, I believe, is the name of the firm. He is the owner of Blue Shark Digital. Blue Shark Digital is one of our sponsors of this event as well, Silver Plus sponsor, and we invite you to go and check out their booth. What we're going to do with this lightning round is we're going to go through each of these three professionals who really know what is cooking in the marketing segment. And because Jordan just told us not to do everything, we're going to ask them, what is the number one thing that you think law firms should be focusing their marketing efforts on, no matter where they are in their business, no matter how small, how big, how successful? What should they be doing with their marketing? We're going to be right with you after these messages from our sponsors.
Now you can finally feel more organized and at peace with your trust accounting. Spend less time managing your accounts and more time practicing law. Your world is changing fast. Don't you think it's time your trust account management changed with it? Nota. Banking built for lawyers.
G&GF, get noticed, get found. We're a leading marketing agency for law firms, and we literally wrote the book on online law practice strategies. It's our best-selling book, and we're giving it to you absolutely free. Our team does it all, from branding and logo design to mobile-first websites, so you can meet your clients wherever they are. We back our clients with experts in organic SEO and paid advertising to give you all the analytics and insights you need to grow your business in the way you want it to grow. G&GF, get noticed, get found.
At Legalese Marketing, we know the struggle that law firm owners face because, well, we've been there. We're a marketing company, founded by a lawyer and run by legal experts. That's how we know that you can find success and happiness when the right marketing strategy and the right systems and processes come together. Give us your tired, overworked, overwhelmed, and struggling law firms. We can get you back on the road to success, so don't delay, call today.
In this world today, if you want to grow your business, you want to grow your firm, you want to take on more cases and make a bigger impact, you have to have a digital blueprint. Statistically, throughout the time that we've been working with Blue Shark Digital, our law firm, the Atlanta Divorce Law Group, grew over 1,400%. They truly understand where we're headed and how we want to get there. I have a team in Blue Shark Digital that I feel like has my back.
Welcome to the Marketing Lightning Round. I love this segment. It's going to be short, quick, to the point. With me here are Mark Homer, Jordan Ostroff, and Seth Price. Guys, welcome. It's my absolute pleasure. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you each the limelight for about 9 minutes apiece to share with our audience here, and we've got a lot of them. What do you think is the thing that they should be focusing on when it comes to their marketing for 2021? So much has changed. We've heard from Mark, we've heard from Jordan. Seth's going to be doing a breakout session after the panel discussion, so there's a lot of information out there, and we want to minimize the confusion. So if there's three things that each of you, and maybe you come up with the same ones, I don't know, we'll find out. But we want to know from you, what is that number one thing? So I'm going to start with Mark Homer. Mark, I'm going to go to you first. What do you think is the number one thing that law firm owners, no matter the size, no matter where they're at in their journey, this is the thing that they need to pay attention to, they need to focus on, they need to make sure they got this right for 2021?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough ask, right? Because no matter what your size, no matter what you're doing, no matter what your goals, but what's one thing to worry about? So I think I will say one thing that you should be, focusing on. I hope I, made this point clear in my presentation, is you should be focusing on or thinking about marketing and investing in marketing. That is a key part of any business. So just say that right there, that marketing is very important. I think the tough thing, right, is I will always follow up that question with, what are your goals? And I really, would chat, and I think probably Jordan and Seth would be nodding their heads here, kind of like saying, yeah, I can't give one answer for everybody, but I'm going to take a cut, right? So I think really dialing in and totally understanding whether it's going through data, going through time with your team and understanding who your client is and where they spend their time and what pains they really have, and then working backwards to how you put yourself in front of them in the most effective way possible. I mean, Jordan went through a whole bunch of ways, right, in his presentation, and there's all kinds of breakouts that go in deeper on those items. But where is your prospect going to be? And spending time on that over the next 3 months will set you up for the rest of the year doing the right things and not just throwing stuff against a wall.
Awesome, Mark. Thank you so much. I love that key takeaway, dialing in and understanding who your client is and selecting the strategy from there. And then from there, it opens up the box of all the marketing strategies that are out there, but you're coming to it from the focus of your client, what they need, and what's going to resonate with them. And ultimately, I think that this goes back to an even bigger question, which is, what is it that you do in your law firm? And this is something that's a really hot button for me, because when you start out your law practice, you take whatever you can get. And what happens is that you end up doing a little bit of family law, a little bit of estate planning, a little bit of bankruptcy, and a little bit of business law on the side. And before you know it, your website's got 4 practice areas and you're a solo firm. And what happens is that then you can't market to anybody because you don't know who you're talking to. So it even starts before the process of knowing who your client is, and it goes to knowing who you are. And you have to figure out, what is it that you want to focus on in your practice? What is not just the practice area, but the niche within the practice area that you want to focus on and hang your hat on. Get really clear with that client, and that's going to propel you further. It's going to really make the marketing strategy clear. And honestly, it's going to make everything else clear. What technology do you need? How should you be pricing your services? How should you be collecting your fees? Everything falls into place when you get really, really clear on what it is that you do. I'm going to go over now to Jordan. Jordan, you're going to be joining us now. What is the number one thing that you think that law firm owners should be focusing on when it comes to their marketing in 2021?
So I have the benefit, one, of watching Mark's presentation before mine, but then also hearing his answer. And I'm going to echo it almost verbatim. I mean, that's the biggest thing, is it's not that pay-per-click is the answer for you, or TikTok or LinkedIn. It's really about creating that overall holistic marketing plan that gets you in front of your ideal clients over and over again. And then the one thing I'd also add to that, so that we're not just hearing an exact echo, is I talk about what lifestyle is that going to give you? Are you going to enjoy actually doing that, and have that be something that you weigh as well? For example, I talk to criminal defense attorneys all the time that are just worn down from all of the court, because there's so much, every case is in litigation. There's so much court for it. So, if you want to be able to teach your kids and homeschool them during COVID or something along those lines, criminal defense is probably not going to be as easy of a practice area for you to target. And so that's the only thing that I would change, is I would work a little bit of, your own personal happiness into the clients that you're working with. And the easiest way to do that is think about the clients that you really, truly liked and really, truly enjoyed working with, and what did they have in common? Hopefully all of them were similarly situated with similar needs, and there you go. There's your niche. Provide as much value as you can and target, people that match those clients. If you don't have that data, or if you hate all of your clients, then take a step back and really think about the life that you want to live, the type of work you want to do, who you want to be working with, and then design that marketing plan around it, because that will help you figure out what the right tactic is once you have the right plan in place.
I love where you went with this answer. I love the fact that you took it back to, what does the attorney want? At the end of the day, what do you want to take home? What do you want your life to be like? If you don't want to be working the way that you're working, then you need to focus on that, and you need to make sure you're getting that solution. And one of the things that you talk about is, hey, do you need to get rid of some clients? There's a great book out there by none other than Mike McAllis, who's going to be speaking tomorrow, and it's called The Pumpkin Plan. So if you haven't read it, I urge you to go and read that book, because that book is all about being able to chop the clients that are sucking the energy out of you and are probably not bringing in the most money into your law firm, and hone in on the clients that are bringing in not the most revenue, but the most profitability to your firm, because they're not a leech. They're not taking all that energy out. They're paying their bills, and you're able to fulfill their work in a period of time that allows you to profit from that experience. And they're not calling you in the middle of the night. They're not demanding to speak with you every time they have an issue rather than talking to somebody at the front desk. We all have those clients. We all know who they are. And if you can start to cut out some of those and get your life in check, that you can enjoy your life, that can really change the experience that you have in growing your firm. So I love, Jordan, that you focused on what is it that you want as your experience, and then we go from there. Really, really good. We're going to go over to Seth. Seth, where are you?
I am down in South Florida. We packed up the minivan after Thanksgiving and figured if we're going to Zoom from warmth.
That's awesome. So this is the second time that we're on camera together. You got the palm trees behind you, so it's a great backdrop. It's not a green screen. I love it, and I'm jealous because it's snowing right now here in Rockland County, New York. But Seth, let me ask you the same question that I've asked to Mark and Jordan. What do you think is the one thing that law firm owners should be looking at, focusing on in 2021 that will really move the needle for them in their marketing?
Well, I kind of feel like Marissa Tomei and my cousin Vinny. Like, I want to say this is a trick question. There is no one answer, and these guys have indicated this already. It depends. So, as a law firm owner and a digital marketer, I see it from both sides. And yes, everything these gentlemen have talked about in their presentations, and then in this hot seats, it resonates in that you got to figure out what's right for you. My world has been the B2C world, the injury, criminal, family, trust and estates, immigration, bankruptcy. In those areas, for me, the fundamentals of digital marketing, SEO in particular, is one of those things that if you build an asset over time, focusing on fundamentals, that produces ROIs that I have not been able to find in other areas. Google is always so good at turning the knob on PPC, making it profitable, but not too profitable to use PPC. And so to me, if I, like getting away from all the bright, shiny objects and everything else, the fundamentals of digital marketing, if executed over time with best practices, will produce results that I think. So if I was starting out, when I started out, had nothing, built a website and just by hand built links, created content, those fundamentals years later still exist. As I think you had just mentioned a moment ago, Moshe, and some of the other speakers had mentioned, you can't do everything. You have to be able to pick and choose what you do. So if you love doing content, do content. If you need to outsource other pieces of it, great. But what I have loved is bringing that together. The only piece that I would say at the moment is producing results that if you're not doing it, I'm talking about in my breakout, is if you are in a B2C area, that the LSAs, the local service ads, are sort of this godsend right now, in that they've been pushed out by Google. They're in beta. They're really cheap. So for one moment in time, which will not last, you're going to have the ability to get phone calls for less or about the same as a click, which is just, again, it's sort of a, my take is that this is sort of like a drug dealer getting people hooked on something. They're putting it out there. So as long as it lasts, making sure that you do go through the background check. We'll talk about that in greater detail. But I agree, there's no one size fits all, and that there's no easy silver bullet for it, but figuring out what you want and then having a plan and executing on it is sort of the formula I've followed.
Awesome, Seth. I love that, the Google LVAs. We definitely need to pay attention to that. This is all really, really good stuff. And you know what? We have more time in this panel, so in this lightning round, so we're going to take advantage of that. Mark, are you on Clubhouse?
I am. Well, I mean, yeah, I think.
What's your username?
Mark_Homer.
All right, well, somebody on my team put that in the chat. Everybody go follow Mark_Homer on Clubhouse. Jordan, what about you?
Lawyer with a life.
Lawyer with a life. We're going to do @LawyerWithALife. Everybody go follow Jordan. And Seth, are you on Clubhouse?
I am, but I look, to me, it's a bright, shiny object. To me, it's great. You want to go there if you enjoy it. But to me, with rare exceptions, again, people make money doing different things, but it's not, to me, it is not, that wouldn't be where I put my time. For me, it's creating great content, owning it on your asset, meaning your site. To me, that's where I'd rather do it. So yes, I'm on there. I pop in. I'm a Droid person, so I have to like steal my kid's cell phone to do it. But to me, I am a big fan of sort of, for me, that wasn't part of my plan. So I've continued to execute. I'll be there and part of it. But to me, that's sort of a distraction. I want to keep my focus on sort of the hardcore digital marketing.
I love that you went there, because that's really what I was going to go as my next question is, what is your opinion about Clubhouse? Is it a shiny object, or is it a new medium that this is where people are now connecting, and this is where you need to go to get the ear of your potential clients or even your existing clients? Because I can tell you, email marketing is not dead. Email marketing exists, but I send out emails. Going up to this event, I send out a lot of emails. Some people are really annoyed with how many emails I sent out. But if I was able to get everybody who registered for this event into a Clubhouse room and tell them to go register on Hopin, we'd have a lot more people here. 1,000 attendees haven't moved to Hopin yet, right? Now they're going to whenever they're ready. When the right session comes, they'll be here, right? But it goes to show that the means of communication change and evolve over time. It wasn't that long ago that the telephone was a new thing. And now there's so much distraction and so much out there. I definitely agree that Clubhouse is a shiny object. I think that there's a lot of people who are wasting a lot of time on there, and they're never going to get that time back. But at the same time, if that's where people are congregating, is that not an opportunity for us to open the channel of communication? What's interesting is, and I'm going to let you guys talk in just a moment, Bill Hauser and I were just having this conversation on Clubhouse on Sunday, and one of the things that we were talking about is where does it fit in the marketing strategy? Is it a replacement? Is it an addition? Is it something that that you need to carve out specific time that you're going to be doing it? So it's a new platform. It's a shiny object. We all agree on that. Let me ask you a very pointed question, and I'll let each of you answer this question. Should an attorney consider, when a new shiny object comes out, should they consider embracing it and doing it? And what are the parameters that you would put in place to tell them, if you're going to do this, here's what you need to do in order to be able to decide whether or not to continue doing it? Mark, I'm going to go to you.
Good question. I like the way you kind of took it to any shiny object, right? So I'm big on data and metrics. One of the first things we try to do with anybody we start working with is make sure you're understanding, what you're measuring, why you're measuring, and what your goals are. And if you approach anything with, it fits in my strategy, so I'm going to hold it up to the same kind of standard as other things, it may take some time. Jordan talked about social media takes a little bit longer sometimes. It's a lot more effort in the beginning. I think, Clubhouse as an example, something where if you enjoy it, it's kind of like a nice Facebook Live podcast kind of thing, right? So if you enjoy it, there could be an audience, there could be something there. But if you're looking at it as a marketing vehicle, you need to hold some standards there that I think with any new kind of shiny object. I believe in I'm a marketer, right? So I try to test all these things and play with anything. So anything new comes out, I jump in just to understand it. But then when it comes to advising a client, though, I'm going to say, what's our goal? Why are we doing this? And are we getting the leads? Are we getting the impressions? Whatever the goal we set up.
For sharing that with us. I'm going to go over to Jordan. Jordan, what do you think about this?
So I think that's a great question, because ultimately the entire concept of business is how do you balance time and money for your time or your money in some manner? So Clubhouse specifically, I'm not going to go all the way to what Seth said, but he's correct. It is not like a replacement for Facebook. Clubhouse is more going to be like an interactive webinar or a podcast. And so I think from a lawyer perspective, what kind of clients are going to be interested in partaking in a webinar? I think Clubhouse, weirdly enough, I think that would be perfect for estate planning attorneys doing webinars on estate planning, except older people, for the most part, are not going to be on Clubhouse. So you're balancing, where your ideal clients are going to be. And that's what you have to do with every shiny object, is ask yourself, are my ideal clients going to be on here? Am I going to be able to get in front of them on here? Am I going to enjoy using this object, this platform, this service, this software, whatever it is along those lines? And if the answer to all those things is yes, then, give it the college try if you can, and you're looking for more cases. If the answer to those things is no, or if you don't have the time, then don't worry about it. We all make a million mistakes every day. There are a million things we could do every day that would be better than what we choose to do. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you focus on happiness and if you really think about what gives you the best chance of talking to your ideal clients, that's what you focus on when you have the time.
Awesome, Jordan. Very well said. Thank you so much for sharing. And Seth, I think we already know what your opinion is, but you get a chance to answer the question a little bit differently based on the way I presented it.
Absolutely. And Jordan, I think, summed it up. Like, to me, you do what you like to do, but you also need that to intersect with what can make you money. So if your potential clients are there, if you want to become a thought leader, great. But if you're looking for hypothetically divorced clients, we have Allison William on the next panel, somebody, who is that going to be a good use of your time? I was the king of Google Plus back in the day, which didn't quite make it. So it's a combination of figuring out where you need to be, overlapping with clients. There are a lot of things out there. I'll give you an example. For years and years, people would come to these conferences that we went to and pitch like geofencing. And it was a bunch of people that if you had gone with any of those 12 companies over the last 7 years, you would have lost on every single one of them. Will geofencing get there? Absolutely. Are there people that are finding, proof of concept in different places? Yeah. But is it okay to sort of let a market mature and then figure out so that you don't go down that rabbit hole? And it's a balance, because there are certain times if you're early into something, you can dig deep and really do well. And I would argue that you could make a buck at Clubhouse. You could be on TikTok. You could do Twitter. There are a lot of different ways to do it. But it comes back to sort of my philosophy in the B2C space that if you're doing that and ignoring the fundamentals of where people are searching for cases, then you're having fun, but you may not be moving the needle as far as ROI for your firm.
Awesome. Thank you, Seth, for sharing. I want to switch topics here. I'm just going to pull up a little page here. Seth, you opened the door to local service ads. So I want to go there. I want to have a quick conversation around it. Get more leads and grow your business. Local service ads help you connect with people who search on Google for the services you offer. Your ads will show up for customers in your service area, and you only pay if a customer calls you directly through the ad. This is what we see as the Google screened with the green check mark, that people are screened through it. And it was a hot buzz for a hot minute, and it seemed like everybody was talking about it, and then all of a sudden nobody's talking about it. It almost feels like we're talking about Clubhouse again, right? Where do you see Google local service ads fitting in the spectrum of marketing? Let's look from two perspectives. Okay, you've got an attorney who is brand new and they're just getting off the ground, and you've got an attorney who's well established, a decent sized firm. How do each of them look at local service ads, and what do they do with it? I'm going to continue the same order I've been doing. So Mark, I'm going to go with you first.
Well, actually, I'll be honest. I'm interested to hear what Seth has to say. I think he was just over with our friends over at PubCon World there, and I missed it this past year. So I'll pull now to see what he said. But local service ads, I mean, we are not stopping to talk about it. I mean, with our clients, it's something that I say everybody should go through the process to get screened and verified. I have this theory of where things are going. Google tends to put really good carrots out there when they want everybody to do something fast. They are struggling in the maps world. They are struggling with keeping up with all the spam and maps. Here's a great way to show everybody, look, you're going to get a ton of leads. Go get screened. Go get all this done. And then pretty soon we're going to see, I think, some stuff trickle into the maps. That's my thought on it. So I think it's extremely important to go do the effort, because I think SEO-wise could hold people back if they don't in the future. Again, I'm interested to see what Seth has to say on it.
So Jordan, let's go over to you, and then we'll go to Seth, since we're waiting with bated breath for what Seth's going to say.
I love it. I love being the lead-in to a better answer. So no. So here's my thing about local service ads. I like these a lot for a brand new attorney, because you're getting the call right there. And so there's sort of less waste, there's less tracking down, there's less need for that follow-up, depending upon how the call goes. So I like them a lot from that standpoint. From a larger firm, I mean, the biggest thing is I'd look at what's the potential ROI. If you're in a market so I'm in downtown Orlando. Morgan & Morgan's headquarters is 2 golf shots away from me. So a personal injury click on Google for me is going to be $250. The local service ads will be about the same price. If you're in a more rural area where you don't have as much competition, you may be able to get a similar click for $5 or $10, and then your local service ad might still be $150. So that may change your analysis from the firm standpoint. But for that brand new lawyer who, or the brand new firm that doesn't necessarily have the right systems in place, the ability for Google to get somebody on a call with you immediately is a very incredible resource that, frankly, I wish I had, 6 years ago when I was day one wandering around the streets about ready to throw business cards out the window to see what happens.
Awesome, Jordan. Thank you so much. I love that, and I didn't know that about the pricing of the ads and that they're not specific to where they are. So very interesting to know. Seth, I'm going to go over to you, but before I do that, I'm going to ask folks if you have any questions for our marketing lightning round here. Post those questions in the chat. I don't. We may have a few extra seconds to pose one of those questions here. Go ahead.
So, look, the local service ads right now, they're at their infancy. So what we said, and Mark mentioned this, we did a presentation on this recently at PubCon, was that it's essentially bastardizing the traditional pay-per-click. We haven't seen it affecting the organic meaningfully yet. But right now, my answer is both as far as, new lawyers versus expanded lawyers. We have one of the biggest players nationally in Detroit coming on the next panel. Mike's done a great job. I'm sure if he can get calls at the numbers they're selling for right now, he wants as much as he can get. The issue is, can you get inventory? The small guy, yes, Morgan is there, but if you can pick up calls even at $250 a call in the PI space, that's a bargain. I have yet to see the $5 to $10 PPC clicks even rurally in PI, but so this is one of those moments. The one thing to be careful about is that you are converting them, because it's a bad bargain if you get the calls and you're not. But right now, this is going to be the cheapest media that we're going to see for a while. It's an introductory price. It's about to get jacked up into an auction. So for the moment, yes, I think most established players have gone through that process that are there. Moshe, we have a lot of people on this, on this program today that are not, that are smaller, and that if you're able to get yourself verified, there is still an opportunity, I think, to pick up some relatively inexpensive calls while they last. It won't. I mean, Mark and I have talked about this offline. Like the price is going to go up; it is not going to remain. But for this moment, there's an arbitrage, or like a moment in time where I feel like if you can get yourself through that process, that there is an opportunity. And whether you're a guy who these calls are going directly to your cell phone and you're closing it yourself, or whether it's going into an intake center, either way, at the moment, it is a great deal. And again, like everything else, continue to test it and make sure it works. But if you're in one of those sectors, I can't see a reason not to be doing it right now.
Awesome. I love this lightning round. We actually covered way more information than I thought that we were going to cover in 30 minutes. So this was a ton of value for everybody here at the event. And I appreciate you taking the time to be here and to share all of that with us. Mark, thank you. Jordan, thank you. Seth, thank you. This has been a wonderful experience for me, and I hope that it's been a wonderful experience for you as well as for everyone who's here. We're going to be cutting into we're going straight into our next session. So one real quick thing I saw in the chat, somebody said that they were here and they didn't realize that the next thing had started and they had to refresh their screen. Our schedule is so tight that everything is going to be as punctual as possible. So if you're not seeing what you think you should be seeing, make sure to refresh your browser, give it a good old restart so that you don't miss anything that's going on. We can't ping you into the room every time that something's going on. That's what the platform is there for. So I just want to make sure that you're not missing out.